The Bears signed two Titans to contribute to exactly what we're talking about in both of these questions and answers. One on defense, one on offense. Let's start with pass rusher DeMarcus Walker. What actual position on the Bears line or positions does he play?
Well, he's an edge guy. He's an edge guy, and he's a speed to power guy. And really, what DeMarcus is I mean, DeMarcus is a really, really relentless rusher. And when the Titans had a really good defensive front until they went through devastating injuries the last 2 years here. But when they were all pretty fresh and ready to go, I mean, he was a tremendous rotational player out there on the edge with speed to power, which is what he is. And so he was very, very, very productive. The pass rush here before guys started getting hurt, which is, I mean, it's a collision sport. And sometimes, that injury wheel turns against you. But he's a legitimate force on the edge. He was he was good here, in a rotational role. The Titans are in a situation now where, I mean, they've had 6 winning seasons in a row and, had made a run at it. And all of a sudden now they have salary cap issues. So they're to construct another roster here, and with free agency, you're going to lose some guys. But he was a legitimate player.
Nate Davis has been added to the Bears roster too for the offensive line. What do you think of Nate?
Well, he came from Charlotte, smaller school, the 3rd round pick. I think he was the 82nd pick in the 2019 draft. His head coach is a guy named Brad Lambert that played for me when I was still coaching in college there at Kansas State. And so he was a guy that, because he played, at a smaller school, but you could see the athletic ability. He was inactive, I think, for his first 3 games here in 2019, but then he started a lot of games here. And when you've got a starter, and I mean, he was a starting right guard when Derrick Henry had, 2 really great years. And as I said, this place has been very successful, except for this last year when they just ran out of players. And he was a starting right guard. Now this year he finished the season on IR here. I think he played 12 games this year, which was the fewest he'd played since he'd become a starter. With some sort of an ankle issue. I mean, I don't get into all of their injuries, but he wasn't able to finish the season. But he's a guy that started 50-something games here. So, you got a young player that's into his 5th year now that should be able to be a help.
Is he athletic enough to play left, or is he strictly a right guard?
Well, he's played right guard. He's played right guard here, but I can't say he's not athletic enough to play left. I mean, he'll be part of their center guard triangle, I'm sure, and that's why they gave him the money they did.
Dave, with an athletic quarterback, and we're seeing that you guys saw with Ryan Tannehill, another guy that has some decent wheels down there in Nashville. How important is that in today's game, considering how fast defenders are?
Well, here's the idea now. When I first started, coaching, with the Bears in 1986, you still had a lot of, people running I formation, play action pass out of the I formation. As I said, 7-step drop, which usually puts you at 8.5 to 9 yards deep back there. Would stand there and try to read things through. With the way things work now, you've got to have some mobility. I mean, everybody doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes, but the quarterback you have there right now, I mean, he can move. If you couple that with an offensive system that gives that as I said, let's go back to the 50-50 strut. You put defenses in, well then, I mean, it's valuable because we've all watched, through the course of the way that offenses have evolved into this league, the off-schedule plays right now. See, there are plays that you can defend, but then when you start defending the off-schedule plays, those are the things as a defensive coach you can't plan for. You just try to contain it. And so I like Fields. I like the quarterback there. I really do. Just need to get some help around him on both sides of the ball.
I'm interested, too, in this. We had a lot of Super Bowl discussion about Andy Reid and his disciples and the evolution of formation and winning a snap merely by the formation sometimes. It's easy to do when you have someone like Travis Kelce, who never has a false step, who always is understanding man or zone or hybrid defenses. Do you think as the Bears offense evolves, as the skill position players become more reliable, that they're going to be able to do some more of that they're going to get more creative, a little more complex in their formations in a way that's going to take advantage, maybe with tempo even, of defensive personnel groups?
Well, I haven't studied the Bears because we haven't played them in a while. I haven't, studied what they're doing. But you talk about Andy and what Andy Reid did. I mean, look, the two biggest plays in that Super Bowl, I have studied that, is that those two whip motions that they ran where they were able to get him in a two-man stack, and then, the Eagles did not adjust to it. The first time if you do it, shame on you. Second time you do it to me, shame on me. And so, they found the flaw and they were able to exploit it for two wide open touchdowns on a whip motion, going to a two-man stack and then bursting back outside. So you ask me that, but that has to go within the context of, of what your game plan is. And the other thing that has to happen is when those things happen, your quarterback has to be able to make some really quick decisions. The last play, and again, you get me talking ball, the last play that the Chiefs ran for that touchdown, they were in the wrong formation. But Patrick Mahomes said, what the hell with it? Stay solid on this side, and we'll run it over here because we know how they're going to adjust. That all goes into the game planning. And that all goes in. Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, but you got to have a quarterback, though, that can understand it, because sooner or later, once they get out there past that white line, it's up to them.
Dave, I know that you're a guy that doesn't have a ton of regrets, but do you ever allow yourself to think about what it could have been if you would have been the Bears head coach?
I was the head coach for 6 hours. I just didn't know it for 3. Look, in my career, I interviewed for 3 head jobs. I got 2 of them. Now, I was only the head coach for 6 hours there at the Bears and didn't know it for 3. Look, and that I've got a group that wants me to write a book, and as soon as I'm done, I'm going to. That'll be about 3 chapters in it. But I don't have regrets because the process wasn't correct. I really, really regret, because I absolutely love Chicago. I love the Bears organization. And it was a dream job for me. Think about it. Come on. I can't say I was going to be. I was the head coach of the Bears. And so, I didn't win a game, but I didn't lose one either. But do I have regrets about it? I don't regret the decision. I regret the circumstances. How's that?
Well, as someone who was there that day, I spent the entire day at Haugh.
God bless you, brother.
And
God bless you,
man. It's just surreal when I've reminisced about it so many times about what happened and how the information came in and went out, and then you were in the parking lot, and then someone's at the airport, and your voice was on the voicemail and everything. It was. People don't believe me when I tell them what happened. Like, no, that doesn't. I'm like, yes, that actually happened.
You know what? I've been asked that. Of course, I do a lot of speaking around the country in the off season with a lot of things. Look, people often ask me, how was the time of my time there in Chicago coaching? I say it was football Camelot. Think about it. It was football Camelot. It was before free agency. You'll never be able to put all that together again, ever, just because of the way, the league is and the way the rules are. We were the first team that lost a player to free agency. Remember when we lost Wilbur Marshall, for 2 number 1 draft picks to the Washington team. So I went through a lot of iterations there with the Bears, but it gave me my jump start, and it's made my career. I've been in the league 37 straight years, and it's all because of where I started, who I started with, and the way it was. So, but yeah, I've still got that voicemail. People send it to me, so I've still got it. I don't use it anymore for my, I don't use it anymore on my phone, but it's there. It was real. I really felt bad for everybody that was, having to sit there. I felt bad for Brian Harlan having to go stand to that podium. People sent me still shots of that empty podium in the auditorium, where it was just, waiting and waiting and waiting. It's going to make a very interesting 3 chapters in the book, guys. I promise you.
Dave, you're the absolute best. We really appreciate you picking up the phone for us.
Hey, look, as I say, Chicago will always have a special place in my football life for me, because that's where it all started for me. And when I go back there, people still, treat me, really good. I mean, it's just, as I said, I've been very fortunate, 37 straight years in this league. I've done it all from an assistant coach all the way to a head coach. I mean, so what the hell have I got to worry about, right? I mean, but that place, Chicago, and the Bears organization will always be very, very special to Coach Mack, I promise you.
Dave, this is great. Continued good health and success. Appreciate your time, man.
Guys, I'm so happy to be on the score again. I used to be on the score all the time. I mean, what the hell?
Hey, we're here.
Yeah, we'll call you back.
Yeah, we're right here.
We got ideas.
You got a phone, man.
You understand now, I'm a broadcast guru, so you got to check with my people.
There it is. See you, Coach.
See you guys.